Okay, this is Florence's Choreg procedure and recipe. First we're going to heat half a cup of water and a tablespoon of sugar in the microwave for 30 seconds. We've got the water in here, tablespoon of sugar, and then when it comes out of the microwave, I put 2 packages of yeast in there. Bread flour here, and I'm going to add 3 cups of regular, just plain old, unbleached white flour. So we're going to have a total of 6 cups of flour. The bread flour seems to give it a little different texture than just only using the regular flour. So that seems to work best for me. Okay, so next thing is to heat the milk and fats mixture. And I use evaporated milk. I think it makes it richer. So this is just generic evaporated milk. There will be 1 1/4 cups of evaporated milk and 2 sticks of butter. And actually, Challenge butter is really good. And then I'm going to stick that in the microwave and heat it for 2 minutes until the fats are soft. It's not going to completely melt, but it'll be enough because then it's going to go into the Cuisinart. We have a Cuisinart which has a pretty big bowl. I don't know how many cups it holds, but it's bigger than a lot of household Cuisinarts. Anyway, so it holds 6 cups of sugar just fine. So the first, and instead of the metal blade, I use the little plastic dough blade. And then first thing is to put 4 large eggs in and beat them first. Then I alternate the dry goods, the fat mixture that came out of the microwave after 2 minutes, and the yeast. And the yeast didn't puff up as much as it normally does, but I'm hoping that it's still okay. It usually comes all the way up to the top, so I don't know why it didn't do that this time. It might ruin the whole batch. I guess we'll wait and see, but I'll just have faith that since it came up somewhat, that it's okay. Put the yeast in here. Do we just redo these? I had put the 2 packages of yeast in a half a cup of water that had been warmed up with a tablespoon of sugar. And the sugar activates the yeast somehow. So that's there. I'm going to put in some of the flour and sugar and spice mixture. Put a little more. So basically just alternate with everything. Put a little of the fats in there. Put a little more flour stuff in there. There's no particular time, just when it looks right, sort of separates from the side of the bowl, you know it's ready. Sometimes I have to knead it by hand afterwards too, because it just doesn't blend as well as I would like it. You don't want to beat it too much because it can make it not so delicate. I got the word for that. And a 1/4 cup of oil. more oil. Now it's just going to do its thing. So it's kind of separating from the sides now and forming a ball, and that's what you want. So I think it's done. Sometimes when the motor starts to smell, I figure it's done. Looks pretty good. This is what it looks like. It's nice and moist. And then I just dump it into a big, okay, so basically, this is it for now. I empty this out and I stick it in the oven. That's set. My oven has a yeast-proof setting, and I leave it there, and then it takes approximately 2 hours. So this is how much it is now, and when it's done, it'll come all the way up to the top. So in the meantime, that's all we do. In she goes, and I never used to cover it, but the last time I covered it, I think it rose a little faster. So I'm just going to put a piece of parchment paper over it and leave it alone. That's it. And then just watch it. I do put the light on. It's been almost 2 hours since the Choreg dough has been in the oven proofing, and now Izzy's going to punch it down gently, and then we're going to let it rise again. So Izzy, just give it a few pokes. Not with your arm. Can you just do it with your hand?
Did you mention what temperature the oven was?
If you don't have an oven-proof setting on your oven, you can just put the dough covered in a warm closet or somewhere. Okay, so it's deflated now, and we just put it back in.
For how many hours?
For maybe another 45 minutes until it rises again, and then we go to the next step. It's been about 45 minutes since we punched the dough down, and it has risen again to where it was before. This is a granite top, so it's cool, but I put a little spray cam on it.
So it doesn't make me skip.
And I either use a 1/4 cup measuring cup, or I just started using this ice cream scoop. And I will just scoop out.
And then you roll it up.
So I will scoop out. It makes about 30, 32, or 33 of these little scoops. And then when they're all done, and then we'll make some shapes out of them. Okay, well, this is the scoops after we scooped them out.
And I need a
Choreg dough. And so they're going to sit a few minutes, and then we're going to come back and we're going to roll them into shapes and bake them. So they'll just stay like this a little bit. Okay, now we're going to start rolling. Sometimes I don't need anything on the countertop. Sometimes I need a little Pam, and sometimes I need a little flour. So we'll just start and see. So I'll just take one of these. No, it's not working so well. So maybe it needs a little Pam.
Can I
Put a little flour. Let's put a little flour. You don't want to have too much flour because then it makes the dough tough. So the least amount of flour you can add, the better it is. So sometimes what I just do is get my hands floury and then roll it out. So the girls are very good at this too. So just roll out a line like that, which is, I don't know, it's about 12 or 13 inches long. And I usually just make a knot like this, like this. Oh, and I forgot to put the parchment paper. I'll get some right now. This is parchment paper, and you can reuse it. So this has been used before. So when we make our whatever shape you want, you can put it here. You could also make braids if you like. I'll make a braid, and then we can see how that looks.
I'm making a braid right now.
Okay, I can use one of yours. How's that?
Hi.
Okay, terrific. I have one of Izzy's. We'll
I'm gonna try to do two at the same time.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so there's one, two.
Can you get me some more flour? Can I guess what I'm making?
I don't know. Okay, now we're gonna do 3.
That's enough. We only need 3 for a braid.
3 for a braid. So we kind of put the ends together.
Yeah.
And
we start making a braid.
Over and under, etc., etc., etc. And then when we get to the end, we kind of just give it a pinch to make it look tidy. We don't have to get too fussy with it because the taste is the most important thing. Grandma's not too fussy about things. So that's a braid, and that's a knot, and that's basically it.
Bye-bye.
Once it's done, once they're all done, then I will brush them with butter, put sesame seeds, and let them rise.
How about egg? Like
brush them with egg. Thank you. Izzy corrected me. See you later.
And brush them with egg.
So when the shapes are made, we've got some braids, and we've got some circles, and we've got a chef, and we've got a puppy, and we've got a word. Then we brush it with egg, and then I will sprinkle it with sesame seeds, and then we'll let it rise, and then bake it. We let the choregs rise, and now they're ready to go into the oven to bake for, I think it's 15 minutes, and then we'll check them and see if it's been 15 minutes. It's in the oven on convection oven for 350 degrees. So the top shelf is pretty brown. So it's probably, it looks like it's cooked enough, nicely brown. Let's see what it looks like underneath. Looks perfect. Okay, I think that looks fine. The middle shelf is still a little pale, so I'll put that up on the top to brown more. Even though it's a convection oven, it doesn't cook like they say it does. This was the bottom shelf, so the coloring is a little bit better, but it looks like it needs to be, and there are a few more minutes. So the top shelf cooks the fastest. So we'll put it back in, give it another 5 minutes. But basically, this is what it looks like when it's done. And then after it's done, I usually put them in Ziploc bags and put them in the freezer and send them to grandkids or give them to neighbors, or we enjoy them ourselves and just, they stay very fresh in the freezer. So that's the end of the process. Next comes eating. So we can see what it looks like inside. Still pretty hot. When we pull it apart, oh my gosh, it's just perfect. Oh, look at that. It's just flaky and absolutely, if I do say so myself, perfect. So that's what you look for.